Alright, well, it's been quite a few days since an update, but there's good reasoning for that. Mainly exhaust gas temperature probe. And this is the first. I've installed these for years and never had an issue. This is the first one. I'm going to show you guys what happened, and I want you to kind of take your time on any sort of NPT style fitting, and they are a little bit dangerous if they get in this sort of situation. So let me explain. Then I'm going to overview what's going on with the build right now, the delay, and getting all back together. We should have a fully assembled intake manifold, engine, accessory drives, everything for 4th of July. So we'll see how that goes. Let me show you. All right, well, the car looks almost like exactly where you guys saw it last. AC lines are all sorted. We've got it all figured out to retain the R12 system. The pulley system on AC and power steering, they're being a little tricky. I've got my little bank over here of sensors to keep them away from a vibration part of the car. But the reason why I wanted to show this video is, so first off, this front EGT probe here, when we did the header shield or the original fabrication for it or something, we had a problem, which I did not catch this. So make sure you guys have NPT taps on hand, because if you look at the threads here, mine got a little grunged up and it was very weird. So this because of being not perfectly clean on the threads, heat generated right where my nail is, and this part of the fitting should never be a compression to anything. There's nothing that's supposed to clamp down on here. But as you tighten down an NPT fitting, this is a tapered fitting, and so as you compress it more and more and more, you're heating this up. And this actually bonded to the sensor, which is normally supposed to free float in here. The compression side is back here. There's a two-piece. There's like an acorn with a cap. They go to this cap here, and then the cap seals it back here. So you've got a seal here, and you've got a seal here, and that seal goes to this side. And this is what holds the sensor at the depth normally. My situation, like I said, the threads got a little grungy. I didn't catch it in time. And instead of having to take the entire manifold apart to do that, I simply cleaned it up as best I could, grabbed a brand new sensor, cost me $100, not a big deal. And I was very, 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 very delicate now realizing what had needed to happen to get that installed without over tightening the MPT side first. So normally what you do is you would tighten the MPT all the way, and then you drop the sensor in and you set your depth off of that. And if you've pre-measured it like I always do, there's no issue. But for whatever reason, because the threads of this MPT had become a little grungy, when you go to tighten it all the way, it clamped down, and the actual sensor would not fit in there. Amazing for bad luck, but figured it out. That was the delay, and once the sensor arrived, I just got it installed today, so we're good to go there. But yeah, just be very cautious of whenever you guys do anything with MPT stuff. Be very cautious of the torque that you're putting into this, because that generated enough heat to essentially melt this, what is a 316 stainless steel into a sensor designed for heat of like 2300 degrees Fahrenheit. So the compression and the heat alone made this unusable. So that shit's going in the trash. The intake manifold you guys have already seen. We're going to do this copper gasket is going to be lightly resurfaced real quick with Scotch-Brite, and then I'm going to put a little bit of gasket RTV on here. Drop this in. I'm running all studs with Nordlocks. Nordlocks are always the way to go. The whole build has, I just bought all these in bulk. So Nordlock is the answer for everything. The whole car is set up that way. Besides that, we get the drive-by-wire, anti-surge valve, which can handle pretty much all of the boost control by itself if we really needed to. That guy drops in this beautiful hole right here. It shoots through there in front of the power steering, dumping hot air as needed. And it's friggin' epic. So now that that stuff is dialed, I'm marking the motor one more time with a little bit of Sharpie, and when I go to put that intake manifold on, it's going to be lifted up slightly, and then that'll match my ports all to that manifold, because the stud diameter is M8 and the holes for the intake manifold are larger than that, so they have to be perfectly aligned. Otherwise the semi-P doesn't line up, the ports don't line up, it's a disaster. And see if I can get down there for you one more time to show off John's amazing work. Oh yeah. Oh, I shouldn't be showing that shit. That's pretty cool though. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff like that. We'll just say the handiwork that went into this motor. I believe John spent about 140 hours in this thing. Not your average engine builder. So, huge shout out again to Legend Motorsports for making this happen. You guys have heard previously how, you know, some shop has wasted like a year and a half of my time. Pretty much said that one of my motors, not this one, the spare one, is useless, and it was fixed by another shop. Machinist time took him 2 hours to fix all those issues. So yeah, that's fixed. That's being built. Actually, that's been built, but yeah. Anyways, check out John, Legend Motorsports. Dude is very prideful and good at his work, and I love seeing it. And of course, you guys can now see the AC system is all going to be working here. The power steering is all going to be working here. The dash 6 lines I'm going to build last, because that's going to have to go around pulleys and charge piping and stuff like that. All of our oil sensor stuff here. There's our oil sensor. This factory oil sensor goes there. There's plenty of room for the spark plug and a socket. So I need to go install the NOx sensors later today and pretty much finish up the harness work, and then we're ready to go. So I'm going to start buttoning everything up, retorquing everything on the turbo side for all of our fittings. I really like how the turbo oil feeds and coolant feeds landed, so that's a coolant feed right here that goes over the side. Now, okay, very important. The cold side of the turbo for the water is this line right here. What we want to do is loosen this clamp here, take the CHRA and turn this 20 degrees so that the water coming in is coming in like this. Okay, the EFR turbos did this instinctively with 4 ports, so you'd have a low port, high port, and you'd have, well, low port would be your inlet, high port would be your outlet, regardless which side it was. Garrett says the best way to doing this is just 20-degree angle and you're good to go. So you put a little slope on that. That makes your, in my case, my turbo drain will be a little bit kicked over here. This line will be a little kicked over here. Everything looks like it's actually happier when I go make that 20-degree change. So I'm gonna do that little change there, finish this line to the oil feed, which will go right here. And then we're gonna just reassemble. I guess I'll do one more quickie shot here of the exhaust because a lot of you guys didn't see this. So we've got the re-entry of the wastegate. Great, of course that clamp's gonna cover it up, but we've got this here, and this whole thing is covered in tunnel shield. So the idea of wrapping the exhaust is twofold, okay? One, we're trying to retain heat inside of the exhaust. It's 321 stainless steel. In this of it's 304 stainless steel, depending on where it's at. And we want to retain the heat inside of it. That's number one. That actually makes more power and whatnot, especially when you do a longer runner, which is known for making more torque and whatnot. You usually lose overall efficiency because now the heat from the motor that's also used to retain heat in the turbine housing is now gone. So the tolerance on here is enlarging because this is a cooler part. So by covering this again, we're tightening up that tolerance in the turbine wheel because a hole will shrink as the heat of the object expands. So, number one, retain the heat. Number two, when you add mass to an object, it would be like sound deadening, okay? If you go and you put a big metal sheet behind this and you thicken this material, the harmonic resonance of that will be a lower frequency. So if we look at like a subwoofer, for instance, it has a very low harmonic frequency, and the idea is that instead of it vibrating and being tinny, it's going to be vibrating and its harmonic is going to be much deeper tone. So all the exhaust being covered will make that a much deeper tone. So there you go. That's the rundown in the last few days. Hope you guys got to learn a little bit of something about your cars. I do go over quite a bit in a short amount of time, and I never really want to make it too particular for that given point. So like I'm not going to make a specific video on something unless it's requested. And so we went over tonight intake manifold stuff, exhaust temperature sensor stuff, exhaust heat shielding, and the effects that you can do with an exhaust to change the note of the vehicle. All of these things are not a particular subject. They're very scattered, and that's intentional. And I think that when we make videos for like a content thing on YouTube, if it is so pinpointed and so it just seems regurgitated, it's like you see those memes and whatnot of these news channels that are all saying the exact same thing. I don't want that. That's not the way that I perceive the world. That's not the way that I want anything to be shown for this page. So when I go and I cover a bunch of information, I want that to be seen as like, okay, the thought that went into this car particularly, this motorsport grade vehicle, is not something that's like, oh, trend A, trend B, trend C, and then here's how you learn each one of those things. That's stupid to me. So I'd much rather take the time, break down little small things as I'm showing you them specifically, instead of being like, you should follow this product line and my hair looks great, and whatever bullshit that people keep trying to spew to you. So I really think that that'll help a bunch of you guys out for enough information to think about maybe taking time on a different part of your car and inspiring. So catch you guys in the next one. Cheers, y'all. Peace.